Have you ever wondered why all Marvel Funko Pops are bobbleheads? Because there is an answer, and it all has to do with licensing. Let me explain. All Marvel Funko Pops are bobbleheads. The reason for that is Hasbro actually owns the master license for Marvel action figures. Now, whether or not you consider Funko Pops to be action figures is a whole other conversation. I don't make the rules, but Funko was able to come up with a loophole by making all the Marvel figures into bobbleheads. I can already hear you typing, so before you say, I have a Marvel Funko Pop that's not a bobblehead, you're a liar. Let me go over some of the exceptions because there are a few of them, and this is one of my favorite things to talk about. So most Funko Pops are labeled on the box as a vinyl figure, but the Marvel ones are labeled as bobblehead. However, you have some lines like Pop Moments, Pop Comics, Diecast, or even 18-inch that are labeled as vinyl collectibles. Because of their size or their shape or even the materials they're made out of, they're not very action figure-like, so the licensing restriction doesn't apply to them. Some of the Pop Moments will even have one figure that's a bobblehead and one that's not. Like this one, Hulk is a bobblehead, but Loki is not. But then there's Stan Lee, and Stan Lee confuses some people because there's two types of Stan Lee Funko Pops. There's the actual real life Stan Lee, who was released in the Pop Icons line, and then there's the Stan Lee cameos, which are characters that actually exist within the MCU, meaning they fall under the Marvel license. Those ones are bobbleheads, except for two of them. This security guard Stan from Captain America the Winter Soldier is not a bobblehead. Look at that, no bobble. And neither is this one from Captain America the First Avenger, even though they are both labeled as bobbleheads on the box. Oops. So is this a manufacturing error or a printing error? I don't know, but I like it. The same thing happened with this J. Jonah Jameson that was released in 2022. It's not a bobblehead, even though it's labeled as one right here on the box. And then there's also the factory error Logan that was released in 2013 that doesn't bobble. But I think my favorite has got to be the Zombie Silver Surfer, because to my knowledge, this is the only standard 4-inch Funko Pop that I can think of that is not only not a bobblehead, but it's also not labeled as a bobblehead on the box. This one is actually labeled as a vinyl collectible. How about that? Now, I believe the reason has to do with the sculpt, specifically these rocks planted at the base. His feet don't really touch the ground, making him not very action figure-like, and probably leaving a loophole open to consider him more of a statue or a display piece. I've spoken to Funko about this before, even people who work specifically in licensing, and even they don't know the exact reason how some of these slip through the cracks, but I imagine it has to do with a long process of lawyers and licensing, and it's probably a big headache, but I think it's really interesting. I think these figures are fun to find and add to my collection.